Welcome to part 3 of my series on smarter defences, and this time we're going to be looking at short range cover, and specifically this is aimed at the SA9 and Iglas. That said, the same principle could be useful on longer range radar guided systems. Before I start, let's just clarify that the aim here isn't to shoot down players without giving them any chance or warning, but it's to make sure that they do fly properly and tactically without simply relying on the default AI behaviour, which is incredibly easy to defeat. Up ahead is an SA9 and we're just going to fly roughly towards it on autopilot at 2,000 feet, giving it a perfect opportunity to take us out. There's a launch, so I'm popping flares, and it's missed. So I'm going to take cover and head to safety. I didn't need to fly at all tactically to avoid that threat. It was all far too easy. So let's try it again. So we're inbound once again and showing the same piloting negligence, but let's see what happens this time. This is roughly where we spotted the launch last time, and nothing. And now we're hit. What's happened is the AI has now avoided a front aspect launch, which we will see, and isn't even likely to hit anyway, and instead has waited for a more suitable time to launch, catching us completely unaware. So let's see how we did this in the mission editor. Okay, here we are in the editor, and I've set up an SA9 in the centre there, and I've created 6 wedge-shaped zones, numbered 1 through to 6. Each zone has a flag associated, so Zone 1 has flag 1, Zone 2 has flag 2, and so on. The SA9 is set with an alarm state of red, so on mission start it deploys immediately. But once it's deployed, which is about 8 seconds for this SAM, I then disable it. When an enemy flies into any of these zones, then the flags for some of the other zones are then enabled. So for example, in the video, I entered via Zone 5, and that activated the flags for Zone 1, 2 and 3, but not for 4, 5 and 6. So as I enter Zones 1, 2 and 3, the SA9 then goes active and engages from the side and rear. Now, there is no one-size-fits-all solution here, as there are many variables. So mission editors are going to have to test their solution and see what works for them. So it's just a principle which is the same. For example, the key variables are the SAM system, its range and engagement type, the size and quantity of the zones, and how you enable and disable the SAM from firing. So for example, if you disable the SAM's AI and you were trying to hit a fast jet with an Igla, then by the time the AI is activated and locked onto the target will be out of range before you can fire if you only have 3 out of the 6 zones active. So in that case, you might need to have 5 out of the 6 zones active. Conversely, if you have a slow-moving target such as an A-10 or a helicopter, then if you have 5 out of the 6 zones activated, then you're still likely to get a front 3/4 launch. As for how to enable and disable the sight, the most obvious way would be to set an action to disable the engage weapons option. However, I can't seem to get this to work. So instead, I've tested 2 other methods. Firstly, enabling and disabling the unit AI, and secondly, changing the interception range from 100% to say 1% and back again. And if you was using this with a radar guided missile system, then you could also use a switch to turn emissions on and off. Hopefully you've been able to follow the logic, so let's now take a quick look at the triggers. The triggers you need depend a little bit on the setup, but you need to stop that frontal attack. If using interception range, you just need to set that on the unit and you don't need a trigger. But for some methods, you will need a trigger. So here is an example where I disable unit AI after 10 seconds, which is enough time for an SA9 to do its initial setup. The blue triggers are the primary detection triggers, and in the first one, for zone 1, I've set it to activate flag 3, 4 and 5, guaranteeing a side or rear shot, and this is suitable for slower aircraft and SAMs with longer range or with fast acquisition. In the second example, for zone 2, I've set 5 flags. This is for zone 1, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and this is more suitable for faster targets, shorter range SAMs or ones with slow acquisition. Moving on to the pink group, these reactivate the SAM site when an aircraft enters that zone. And in the first of these, I'm showing it increasing the interception range. In the second, it shows it enabling the unit AI. And in the third, turning on emissions. Now, obviously, all 6 need to be the same in real mission and aligned to whatever method you use to disable the site in the first instance. So that just about wraps it up. And once again, I must stress the aim here isn't just to shoot people down without warning. It's to force them to be observant, to fly tactically, to deploy flares proactively and not just reactively. In short, to force them to be better pilots. So once again, thanks for watching and please hit like and subscribe.